Today's economy is still in a recovery period, and House Republicans are committed to helping ensure businesses of all kinds are able to thrive in Pennsylvania. While the biggest toll may be on small businesses, there are ways that the legislature can help ease some of the administrative burdens. Let's spend a few minutes with Representative Todd Stevens to find out how. Representative Stevens, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you're getting ready to introduce a piece of legislation that will help relieve the administrative burden on small businesses. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's going to work?
Sure. I guess about 6 months ago, as I was going door to door in my district, one of my constituents and I got into a conversation, and she's a small business owner, and she said to me, you know, what initiatives was I working on, and I explained some of them to her, and we started discussing how, you know, big businesses have accounting departments and legal departments and government relations departments and everything else like that, but for the small business owner, you know, they're focused on running their business. So they are the legal department, the accounting department, the marketing department. And so it's tough for them a lot of times to stay in touch with what's going on here in Harrisburg. So as a result, I created a small business advisory council. It's made up of small business owners in my legislative district. And they come from different areas of the district geographically, but also different industries and different backgrounds and different businesses. So we've had a few meetings, and out of those meetings, we've developed some suggestions for legislation. One real simple thing that they brought to my attention was that currently the business taxes they pay can be paid online, but not in all instances. So when they sit down quarterly or monthly or whenever they're going to remit their taxes to the Commonwealth, they need to sit down, you know, online with their paperwork, but then they also need to bring along their checkbook and a coupon book and all kinds of other stuff. So administratively, it's just a hassle. Additionally, if there are issues that arise as a result, you know, of their remittances, tracking that is more difficult because of the paperwork involved. So you have some that involve the coupon, you have some where you have to go to your bank and look for the canceled check, as opposed to having one consolidated online portal to allow them to just remit all their taxes and then go back to, you know, whether it's selling soft pretzels or taking care of animals or whatever it may be, selling a product or a service. You know, that's really the goal, and that's where this comes from.
Is there a reason that the way the law stands now, that only some taxes can be remitted online as opposed to all of them?
It seems as though the Department of Revenue historically just looked at those taxes that were paid by the most number of taxpayers. So they started with sort of the largest groups, and they just haven't worked their way all the way down to include everybody. So I'm introducing legislation that would require them within 12 months to develop an online web-based portal through which all of our businesses could remit their taxes, so that they can all be in one solid place, increasing efficiency and reducing that administrative burden.
Now, once this legislation passes, will it require all small businesses to remit all taxes online, or will they have the option?
No, they'll have the option. The idea was to make it available for them, and I think you'll see more and more businesses, you know, moving in that direction. Look, I now do all my banking online, and I know a lot of my constituents are the same way. I don't even have paper checks anymore. If somebody asks me for one, I don't have one. And I do the banking online, and I think many of our small businesses are going to move in that direction if given the option, and that's what this is about, giving them the flexibility to do what's best for them and ease some of that administrative burden on them.
You spoke about this a little bit before, but ultimately, what do you hope the timetable is for this legislation to pass and then be enacted?
Well, in speaking with the Department of Revenue, it seemed like 12 months was a reasonable time frame for them to develop this. I would hope that it's done sooner than later. First, I have to get the bill, you know, out of committee and through the House and then through the Senate and off to the governor and signed into law. So first things first, we'll try to get that done, get the law put in place. The Department of Revenue does know that I'm working on this initiative, so frankly, they can be working in the background now to make preparations for the change if they desire. I think it's important to note, they can make this change right now without legislation. You know, they haven't really seemed as though they were willing to do it right now. They were looking at some other initiatives, and I felt like this was important, so I'd like to push the issue a little bit.
We only have a few moments left, but you mentioned you have your Business Advisory Council. Do you have any other possible pending legislation that you'd like to talk about?
Now, there's a couple things that are in the works. I'm still trying to work out some of the details. We continue to meet regularly, and it's always a good discussion. And even if there aren't specific legislative initiatives that I develop from it, it gives me some perspective and a backdrop as I consider other pieces of legislation. As we talk about transportation issues, as we talk about business tax issues in general, things like that, they all affect small businesses. So it's important that I have their perspective in the back of my mind as these conversations ensue here in the Capitol.
All right, well, Representative Stevens, good luck as you get ready to introduce this, what seems like a good piece of legislation.
Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for today's program. I'm Anthony Tezak. If you have any questions about what you've seen today or any other state government-related matter, Representative Stevens' contact information will be on your screen in just a moment. Please join us again next time for Legislative Report with Representative Todd Stevens.